honestly, we'd never probably need to learn anything more about the mechanisms, biochemistry of nutrition, metabolism. Like, I don't know that there's really anything to be gained there. The real challenge is adherence and buy-in. And, that's where motivational interviewing, figuring out readiness for change, like it's really the implementation side is where all this stuff falls down. There's a very, very few people who will pick up one of my books, read it, and then do it and like really do it and succeed. There's a few people that do that, but it's of the population at large, only a few of them are, willing to buy a diet book, and it far, an even smaller, fractional percentage are actually doing what's recommended there. If you get some sort of health coaching, you know what I mean? Even things like the Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and stuff like that, they work far better over the long haul than somebody just picking up a book. And it depends on a couple of factors, like the more actual human interaction that somebody has, the better, interaction they have with a coach and somebody that's supporting them. That is a huge, piece of whether or not somebody's going to succeed or fail in something like this. There have been a zillion different apps with billions of dollars invested in them trying to, create some sort of Facebook-like, hands-off interaction that helps people lose weight and get healthy, and none of them work. Like, again, it's a person here, a person there. They'll find it helpful. It improves their situation just enough. But at the end of the day, that person was ready to just succeed almost no matter what. And the little tool that an app provided is kind of trivial at that point. But people who are still struggling, they don't have a deep reserve of self-control and whatnot. Their success really hinges usually on some sort of a group support program. This is where things like CrossFit can be kind of handy, martial arts and whatnot. Like, you're doing something where there's a community component to it and your performance kind of matters. And so you're motivated to stick with it and do that. And then the next piece to that is some sort of health coaching.
I guess the environment in which we all live, I'm out a lot. So I notice, all the food around you is usually fast food or, like prepackaged stuff. It just everything around you, like the entire environment, the commercials, what the ads you see on your phone, people around you, the food around you, just everything is conspiring to get you to eat one way. And then I guess all you have on the other side of the equation is your knowledge and your willpower to eat right. So I guess that's probably why most people lose.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why my second book was titled Wired to Eat, because we are wired to eat more and move less. Like, that's good evolutionary wiring. And now, though, we live in a world where we can get food delivered to our front door. We don't have to lift a finger, virtually to get it. And so that plays so poorly, and not just any food, but we can get this massive variety of food that is engineered to taste really amazing. And that's a hell of a thing to fight against. Our basic tendency is to eat more food and move less, because that's the reason why humanity is still here. That, people did that strategy in the past, but that strategy now is just very maladaptive, because we're by and large, wealthy enough and have the infrastructure to have access to what is effectively unlimited food for most people.
I think there's also decision fatigue, because I realize, like, every day, 3 to 5 times a day, you're confronted with, oh, am I hungry? Maybe I should eat something. And then what am I going to eat? So if you have to make a decision, the right decision every day, multiple times a day, chances are you're going to make it wrong at least some of the time.
Yeah. And you know what, when you asked me about some of the trends in this space, I gave you a short thrift on that. Intermittent fasting or time restricted eating is a viable tool, and it kind of addresses that decision fatigue a little bit. And decision fatigue is a real factor in this. Parents, people who have shift work and whatnot, like they're if you're tired, your decision fatigue is just massive. If you've already made a lot of big decisions, but a lot of people are unwilling to change what they eat. They're not really going to clean up the composition, at least not initially. But telling people, hey, if you just eat between the hours of, say, like 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., but you can eat whatever you want during that time. a lot of people can do that. And a lot of people find that a viable place to start. And there's nothing magic to it. It's just introducing some calorie restriction, giving your body a chunk of time to not be eating constantly and to offload some of those calories. But it does work well. And then if you get that person who is only eating between like 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., you're like, hey, when you eat, try to eat protein first and eat that until you're like tired of the protein, then eat the other stuff. And if you can get people doing that, pretty quickly you can find folks that have organically kind of grown into their own style of eating that is kind of protein forward, which is good, has some calorie restriction due to both the protein intake and the time restricted, nature of their eating. And that can work really well. And I am seeing that as a strong and viable tool within this kind of emphasis on change.